Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm a registered dietitian with the Couchiching Family Health Team. Welcome to my kitchen. Today, I invite you to join me as I prepare a healthy soup featuring freezer and pantry staples. The recipe we'll be preparing is a broccoli and cheddar soup that features a secret ingredient to impart a creamy texture without the cream. You may even have a few cans in your pantry right now. Beans. These are white kidney or cannellini beans, which will be pureed in this recipe to provide a thick and creamy texture while also packing a nutritious punch with added protein, fiber, and low glycemic index carbohydrates. I've got all my ingredients ready to go, and I'll share with you where you can substitute freezer or pantry staples depending on what you have on hand. We've got our broccoli. So this is an opportunity to use fresh broccoli if you have it, but you could also substitute frozen broccoli or do a blend of broccoli and cauliflower as I have here. Next, we have our onions and garlic. You could substitute garlic powder if you don't have the fresh. We'll be using some lemon juice, either the bottled or the fresh could work here. We've got some no salt added vegetable broth, so either homemade, store-bought, or the no salt added bouillon cubes, which you can get nowadays. We've got our pantry friendly beans, and finally some cheddar cheese. Now a tip with your cheese is that you can pop it in the freezer to help it last longer. Let's get started. All right, I've got my olive oil heating over medium heat, and now I'm going to add in my onions and garlic. Now, the great thing about this recipe is that we are going to puree it, so you don't have to worry about perfectly chopping your vegetables. Now, while that continues cooking, I'm just going to prep the rest of my broccoli. What I wanted to show you was that you can take a vegetable peeler to the stalks of the broccoli and just peel away the outer edges, which can be a little bit rough. The other thing that you're welcome to do, if you'd like, is to reserve some of the florets of the broccoli to add after we puree it, add a little bit of texture to the soup. So you just want to give these a really good rinse until there's no more bubbles when you're rinsing them, and that really gets rid of a lot of the resistant starch, which can lead to some gas with beans. All right, so this is what our onions and garlic are looking like. I think we're ready to move on to the next step. So for this next step, we're going to be adding in our broccoli, broth, and beans. So we've got the majority of our broccoli here. I've got a mixture of the stems and then a few of the florets. And then again, I've reserved some of the florets for later use as well. So we'll go in with those. I've also got our drained and rinsed cannellini beans. So we'll go in with those. And then we'll add in our broth, so a full container. And then you just want to ensure there's enough liquid to cover the vegetables. So if that's not enough and it's not for me, then we'll just add in a little bit of water just to cover them slightly. What we want is a thick and creamy soup, so the more liquid that we have in there, the thinner the soup will be. So just keep that in mind when you're adding liquid before cooking. Don't add too much. So once your veggies are covered, just give everything a bit of a stir, release any of the onions and garlic that may have gotten stuck on the bottom, and then we'll turn up the heat a little bit, and we'll bring it to a boil. Once it's boiling, we'll reduce the heat, maintain a simmer until the broccoli stems are cooked through and soft. Really soft is what we're wanting so that it'll contribute to a nice and creamy soup. So the soup has been bubbling away for about 20 minutes and it's pretty much done. The stalks do take a little bit longer to cook, so test them and make sure that they're nice and tender before you stop cooking. Now I'm just going to let this cool a little bit and then I'll be transferring it to the blender, probably in a couple of batches to puree it until it's nice and smooth. I just wanted to mention too that I left the lid off during the cooking so that some of that liquid could evaporate away, because what we want is a thick and creamy soup, so the more liquid that we have in there, the thinner the soup will be. I've pureed my soup. I managed to do it in 2 batches, and I'm just going to add it back to the pot. And now it's still fairly hot, but if you'd like, you can turn the heat on just to low. And we'll be adding in now the broccoli florets, which we reserved from before, so those can go in. And we'll also be adding in our cheese. which I've got here. So we'll go in with, we have a cup of cheddar cheese. Feel free to use the orange or the white, whatever you prefer. I've added in the lemon juice as well, and now I'm just going to season it with some salt and some black pepper. I like a lot of black pepper, so I'll be adding a fair bit. But add to your liking. Give it a stir, and it really won't take long for the broccoli florets to soften up a little bit. This is what the soup looks like once it's done. Let me show you how I like to serve it. So there you have it, creamy broccoli soup without the cream. I've added some fun toppings to my soup today to increase the nutritional value and also make it more enjoyable to eat. I've added some toasted rye bread, which I've just cut into bite-sized pieces. I've added some additional shredded cheese and some plain Greek yogurt. So this is adding protein, calcium, and vitamin D, as well as fiber and low glycemic index carbohydrates, really turning this soup into a meal. I like to call it souping up your soup. Thank you so much for joining me in my kitchen today. It's been so much fun. Stay well.